easy go.
Welcome back, Buc Bro podcasters. We're here with the latest episode of the podcast, and we're well within the NFL season. Already 2 games in, the Bucs sit 2-0. We're going to go, as always, with our game review and previews. We have a little something special for you this week. So first, I want to introduce both Buc Bros, Bryce and John. How you guys doing?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Broadcasters, always good to see you guys.
And then we've got our new Buc Bro, Zach, here. He's bringing us a new section with Buc Bro Bets. Going to be telling us what bets he likes on the Bucs game this week. Zach, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I appreciate y'all having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man, of course. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to jump into it. I myself actually did not watch the game this week because I was flying, but I did see the highlights. And just from a summaries aspect, it looks like the game might have been a little closer in the third and fourth quarter than we'd like, but the Bucs pull it out, move to 2-0. Let's start with Buc Bro John. What did you like, dislike, and general thoughts about the game this past week?
Once again, just like last week, the thing that really stood out to me is Rob Gronkowski. He looks to be absolutely in some of the best form of his life. Scored 2 touchdowns again. That's 4 touchdowns through 2 games. Just looks strong, looks fast. And like I said last week, if he continues on this pace, if he continues to be a weapon, it's going to be a great season for him and a great season for the Bucs, for that matter. One of the things that I could not stand this week and last week as well is the officiating. It's just something that we're going to have to just attempt to overcome. I know you mentioned that the game was a little close. It shouldn't have been. There was a third defensive touchdown that was called off on a phantom offsides. That should have been another touchdown. That should have put that game away, turned into a 10-point swing in favor of the Falcons, and allowed them to gain some momentum that they truly shouldn't have had. There was some phantom pass interference calls. Once again, another week where our defenders in the secondary who are playing, missing some key pieces, also have to play against the refs, and that's tough to watch. Overall, I think the team, dealt with that adversity very well. We came back and made it the blowout that it should have been. And you love to see it. You love to see any time a team can score 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, I like that. What do you think, Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think we all predicted this was going to be an easy win, and that's what it was. Got a little close there in the third quarter. The Falcons made a little comeback, but Mike Edwards shut the door on that twice in the fourth quarter. So overall, a great performance. What I definitely loved was, Tom Brady looks like he's putting up another MVP type of season with 9 touchdowns already in 2 games. The other great statistic from an offensive standpoint is that this is 9 games, I believe, in a row where they've scored 30 or plus points, which breaks the all-time NFL record held by Tom Brady's Patriots. I think he did it twice with the Patriots. So nice that he seems to have that case of Benjamin Button. He just gets better as time goes on. I think I also saw something that if he throws like 14 more touchdowns this season, he'll have thrown more touchdowns in his 40s than he would have in his 20s. So that's pretty interesting. So yes, offense was great. Tom Brady, great. Another thing I definitely love to see was we limited the amount of turnovers, especially from last game, right? The mistakes were limited in this game. And overall, I thought every aspect, offense, defense, and special teams, played a pretty sound game. I will say, John, the officiating wasn't great, but I don't think it's something that, cost us the game either. Yes, the offsides was an iffy call, but I mean, from when I first saw the play, it did look like he jumped offsides. And I don't know how, the refs don't have that slow-mo camera to be like, oh, he timed that just perfectly. But, of course, as we're watching the game and the Falcons are mounting a comeback, you come back to that play and say, that cost us 7 points. So I will say that something that John had brought up that I hope develops as we get, or that we continue to develop as we get further into season is the pass rush. Again, we were getting pressure on Matt Ryan, but we just weren't getting home. overall, there's not a whole lot I can say that was that bad about this game. When you win 48-23, you know, that's I don't really know what else you could say about that. I mean, that was a pretty dominating win, and we're 2-0 going into week 3 to our first road game.
Yeah, actually, it was just the one sack for Ndamukong Suh this game. That's 2 sacks on the season. You'd like to see more. Zach was actually at the game. Any on at the field perspective from your end?
Well, I mean, the crowd loved it. I mean, that was clear. And, you know, the energy when the defense is scoring points like that is infectious. You know, we were robbed on one, which was very upsetting. But I think the crowd loved it. I think the team looked good. It felt like early on it was, you know, the only way we weren't going to score is if we decided not to score. You know, it got a little closer, like everyone said, in the third. But I mean, overall, it was just an alpha game. I think you know, we were our own worst enemy throughout that game. I don't think the Falcons really had much they could do against us. You know, the only thing that frustrates me, and I know I've talked to you about this off camera, is we have a problem handling horizontal passing right now, and they had success doing that. So that's my only thing I came away not enjoying, is watching Cordarrelle Patterson have himself a day, because he's taking screens left and right, and we can't get out wide to contain fast enough.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually going to pick up Cordarrelle Patterson in fantasy, or hope to. So, but yeah, you mentioned it, and I think that's a common thread, you know, just from what I've seen in the highlights in the first game, which is we can be our own worst enemy, and really we're going to go as far as we want us to go, or however we let us go. Heading into next week, we get into our game preview now for week 3, and we're going to need to tighten some things up for sure with our next opponent going to LA against the Rams. The Rams seem to be the real deal. I think I'll start with Buc Bro Price here. What's one key aspect the Bucs need to bring this coming Sunday to beat the Rams?
Yeah, this is going to be America's game of the week, right? Late game on Fox, national broadcast. One of the true first tests. I mean, first road game for the Bucs this season. And then secondly, yeah, the Rams are one of the other 2 NFC teams that are, you know, at the top of the conference that will be fighting for playoff position. Key to this game, as always with the Rams, is you've got to make sure that we protect Tom Brady. The Rams have one of the best defenses in the league, and Aaron Donald is probably the best, if not, or he's got to be the best defensive player in the league. And then you have Jalen Ramsey as well on the outside. So making sure that we can continue to protect Brady as we have for the first 2 games is going to be key. If we can keep him upright, I don't see any reason why we couldn't continue this offensive stretch that we've had. You know, because it is Tom Brady. Give him enough time, he's going to find his receivers, and with a receiver core as talented as the Bucs have, people are going to get open. But if we can't protect them, and Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd are able to get to the quarterback routinely, the Bucs might be in for a tough day.
Yeah, the only 2 sacks allowed on the season. Let's hope it continues. Real quick before I let you go, what is your one fantasy player you want to see in starting lineups this week for the Bucs?
It's not Ronald Jones, I'll tell you that. For the second week in a row, he has let me down, so he's going to be going to the bench here for me shortly. I think you're going to continue to see, the last time Mike Evans played the Rams in LA, he had himself a big day. I think he has another big day here. So if you got Mike Evans, keep him in the starting lineup. He's going to go off for at least a tutty.
I like it. He'll most likely be facing Jalen Ramsey. Hopefully he has a big day for us. Let's go with Buc Bro John. Again, one key to the game, and then maybe a fantasy player you'd like to see in the starting lineups.
So my key to the game, after watching both of the first 2 Rams games, and I watched every play of their game against the Colts this weekend, is going to be score points when you have possession. The Colts and Carson Wentz could have pulled out a win very easily in that game had they taken their field goal opportunities instead of going for touchdowns, and had they protected the ball better and just taken some easy points when they had the opportunity. They started to get frustrated and you could see it, and then the team started to let the game slip away from them. We know that the Rams are good. We know that they're going to put up points. I think if we don't let them get in our heads and we continue to score when we need to, when we get into range, and not try to force touchdowns and take our field goals when we need to, we should easily win this game. As far as a fantasy player, I want to say that you should flex in Tyler Johnson. Nobody's going to have them in their leagues right now. I expect the Rams to fully be looking for Antonio Brown, looking for Evans and Godwin. I think you should pick up Tyler Johnson this week, throw him into that flex position, and watch him do some work this weekend. I expect to have him at 2 touchdowns.
That's big expectation for Tyler Johnson. I think you won out of all the Buc Bros last week with Ryan Suckup having the most points. So hopefully your streak continues. Let's go to Zach. Again, key to the game and a fantasy player you'd like to start.
I mean, I'll just go back to what I touched on at the end. To me, it's trying to limit that horizontal scheme. Cowboys exposed us with it. The Falcons did as well. I don't think teams care about running the ball against us because the front seven is just, it's too much to deal with. They play us like a SWAC school would play a major conference school. They're just going to get the ball out quickly, out wide, and treat that as their running game. The Rams are the team that does that every week against everyone, so they can open up downfield. McVay's offense, it's tunnels, it's wide receiver screens, it's running back screens. That scheme has a potential to be problematic for us. So I just like to see them stay home and be sound up front and on the edges. Don't get suckered in, because eventually they're going to fake getting over the top. That'd be my concern. That'd be my key to the game. But for a fantasy aspect, I look at last week, Gronk eats, Mike eats, Chris eats. I think AB is hungry. I think AB wants a bite of the pie. I would assume AB, maybe it's not a tutty, but it's maybe some yards. I think it's his turn. There's a lot of mouths to feed, though.
Yeah, AB a little quiet in week 2. Hopefully that's a back-to-back game. I'm going to say for my key, it's the same as week 2. Bryce touched on it earlier, but I think we need to start converting sacks. And we can get the front 4 getting pressure on Matt Ryan. It'll help hopefully with that passing game where we can drop back and keep people in front of us and not allow McVay's offense to create those down the field threats with Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods that we see week in, week out with that offense. So pressure from the front 4 is my key to the game. If I'm going fantasy, I was really bad last week with Cameron Brate, who had just 1 catch. So for this week, when I look at our matchup, I think the weak spots of the Rams defense are the linebackers. So I'm looking for tight ends, and I got to go with Gronk. I mean, he's been feeding the past 2 weeks, and I can't see it stopping here. So I look for Gronk to have a big week in week 3 against the Rams. I don't know if it's going to be 2 touchdowns, but I would expect him to get into the end zone at least once. And now to our new segment, Buc Bets. So, Zach, can you give us some idea as to what bet you're going to be placing on the Bucs this week and what you think Buc fans should be looking at?
Welcome to the sports book. Thanks for coming. So it's a juicy matchup for the Bucs because we're underdogs. It's just not going to happen a lot this year. And I 1.5 points is what we're getting right now. We'll see how it moves, but opening up 1.5. I look at, okay, we have the Rams. Why are we underdogs against the Rams on the road? It's LA. It's not a football city. I don't think it's a home field advantage. Okay, well, they beat the 2-0, right? They beat Andy Dalton's Ghost and the Bears in prime time, and then they beat the Colts. But like John said, that Colts team is bad, and Wentz is hurt, and they barely won. And in terms of gambling, they didn't, because it was a 3.5 point spread, and they won by 3. So I'm not impressed by the Rams. I think I see through the Rams. I don't think they are this contender that they're being portrayed as with this 1.5 points. So first and foremost, we're taking 1.5 points. If the Bucs are getting points at any point, I'm taking those because we're too good to give us points. Otherwise, I'm looking at totals. So, the over has hit in all of our games this year. The over is at around 53.5 right now. I'm taking the over. And a quick stat for you, a little stat of the day, to back all that up. The over has hit in the last 4 times we played the Rams, and the underdog is 4-1 against the spread. The road team is 4-1 against the spread. For those reasons, I think you take the Bucs and the points, and you take the over. I think those are your 2 nice, easy picks. And then just a lock for me, I like the first half over for total points. I have it at 26.5. We scored 21 points in the first half ourselves, both games. I think 26.5, very doable. That'd be my lock.
All right, good stuff. We got spread over and first half over. Easy to do that when the Bucs are scoring points like they are. I think that's going to do it for us guys this week. I think we're going to sign off. We'll see you next week. As always, Buc Bros, go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.
Go Bucs.